This is George Dionne of Metal Express Radio, and I'm here with Marty McCoy of the band The Lonely Ones. How you doing today, Marty?
I am excellent. How are you?
Excellent. Now, the first question I had is, The Lonely Ones, is that a metamorphosis from Bobo Flex?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of things happened in the last, I guess, 2 years now. It's my brother wanted to be home with his family more, which was not going to work with Bobaflex because we were a touring machine. So all we did was tour like crazy. So we decided that, the remaining four of us didn't want to stop touring and didn't want to stop making music. So we decided to keep going, and we changed the name because we didn't feel like it was right to remain as Bobaflex without Sean because he was one of the founding members. And it was a chance to do something new, something exciting, shake off the old garb and the old guard or however, whatever, and come out and do something new. And with some of the guys that had joined the band later in the process of Bobaflex, they got to have more say and more influence of what the sound was like. And it's exciting. It's like, it's definitely different. And I get to be the lead singer now, not just the other. So I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds good to me. Let's go.
So did the band name The Lonely Ones come from the fact that you're missing your brother?
It comes from the fact of a lot of things that happened right around that period. It's like with relationships and things like that, you give up some things when you want to be a touring musician and you want to be a rambling man and a American band. You give up some things that other people take for granted. You don't get to come home every night, and you don't get to, relationships suffer. As hard as you try, as much as you make phone calls at night, and as much as you try to fly home for things, the person on the other end, it gets pretty lonely over there. So in turn becomes lonely, blah, 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 this big whole huge Lonely Ones thing.
So you actually wrote a song about that, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's like I said, it's my favorite thing in the world to do, but it's not as far as keeping, it's tough to keep the family life going. And so, the four of us, we don't have any families. We're dedicated to being musicians and that charge and that love that we get when we go into the studio and we write a song and it comes out through the speakers and we're like, yeah, this is better than what we thought it was going to sound in our heads. And then you go out and play it live and people, sing the lyrics back and everything. I just can't live without that. And I'll give up many things to be able to do that on a weekly basis.
So you guys for 2020 have been doing the single thing. Are these singles going to build towards a full album at some point?
I think so. Yeah, it's as far as the music industry goes, it's changed so much. It's like, I hate to say it myself, I pick and choose singles off Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. You know what I mean? I'd like to say I buy albums and I'm this purist and this is what's ruining the record industry. And I hate to say it, man, it's pretty damn convenient. There's a million, any song you want it to touch your fingertips. It's like, as much as it's hurt, what musicians can make and how we live, it's like, I do it. So, ouchie.
Well, on the flip side of that, music seems to be, and singles in general, seem to be a way to promote the tours and stuff like that. But now we're sitting here in the middle of, COVID lockdown. So now it's you're kind of stuck on both ends.
Well, I think it's kind of become the lifeblood for boredom and us, everybody being locked down, which was really strange when we started the band, got everything done, bought a touring vehicle, shot a bunch of videos, were ready to hit the road, and wham, the whole world shut down. So we laugh it's not a laughing matter, but we laugh about, hey guys, here's our first obstacle. If we can get over this hump, we should be good to go. Everything else will pale in comparison. But yeah, I think it's kind of, that's what I've been looking forward to, is writing and recording and other bands, that are putting out music that's inspiring. It's like, there's this mass wave of music because, we're not touring. So the only thing that we can do is be in the studio. So ourselves as artists and other artists are doing the same thing. And it's almost like Christmas every day. Bring Me the Horizon's new record come out. The guys from Red Sun Rising called Violent, they're putting out new stuff. Waiting on Nothing More stuff. They're in the studio. There's all these bands, that are doing just it's just coming. It's just coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's like the Renaissance or whatever. This is going to be huge for music. I mean, as gnarly as it is, and we can't tour and do what we love. It's like as far as artistic, it's just exploding.
Right.
Because we're locked down and we have nothing else to do, and we'll go crazy. We'll bite our own leg off if we don't record and we don't write. So as a fan of music, we're getting this huge wave of really great, depressed and angry and music about hope and it's just a really good. It's really good for writing. It sucks for the rest of the world. It really sucks. But as far as being an artist, man, there's a lot to pull from.
Absolutely. One of the singles that you put out is actually a cover of Queen's Flash mixed with Hero. There's got to be a story behind why you picked that song. I don't think anyone's ever covered it.
Well, so growing up as a kid, I thought Flash Gordon was one of the coolest movies ever. That's where I discovered Queen. I was like, who is this band? And my brother and I would watch it. I mean, we still watch it religiously. Like on the bus, Flash Gordon, you'd start hearing from the bunk, Flash Gordon would start playing, and you'd come out front and everybody would watch the movie. And, it's got one of the greatest soundtracks ever. It's like, if you're going to have someone score a movie, I'd love to see more rock bands score movies, like just constantly. So we loved that song. And as the Lonely Ones, we thought, everyone's doing a cover. We did a couple covers back in the day. They were real successful for us. Everyone's doing a cover. Radio or you get slammed with covers. Every time you turn around, people are doing The Grinch Stole Christmas. There's all kinds of stuff everywhere, which is cool and fun as an artist. It's fun to do these songs and be in the studio, and it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit because the song's already well written and everybody already likes it. So, if you do a good job, it's just fun. So we thought, as a new band, like everybody's doing covers. So if we're going to do a cover, let's do one that shuts everybody the hell up. Let's do one that, that's obscure. It's like, everybody's doing a Britney Spears cover and turning it into metal. Oh, that's so much fun. Great. Not that I don't like that, but it's like, we want to do something different. So we thought, if we're going to do a cover, let's do something that everyone just, drops their, like, holy shit, for the reason that we tried to cover it. In the beginning, we thought it was going to be hilarious. What's going to happen is we're going to have a bunch of people watch this video because it's a Queen song and watch it to wait and see what a pile of shit it's going to be, because it's Queen and it's hard to do.
Right.
Like you can't do Queen, you can't do Queen. And I thought the same thing. Jimmy, the bass player in the band, he was the one that suggested it, and it took forever. I was like, "Are you crazy?" He's like, "No, listen, if we do this," it was his brainchild, and I was a hater. I was like, "It's one of my favorite songs. I love Queen. There's no way we can do this." He's like, "We can." I was like, "Jimmy, I'm the singer, and it's it's Queen. It's Freddie Mercury. It's like, in this game, you got it easy, bud. You're playing the bass, and I have to try to compete with Freddie Mercury, and so we learned all the music, and which was not easy. Every little down, 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 down. They're all different throughout the entire song, and it's a movie soundtrack. So the tempo is like trying to ride a rattlesnake. The tempo is all over the place, and we wanted to stay true to that. So we figured it out and got it all worked out, got the music down. And that was hard, but that was the easy part. So then it was time to tackle the vocals. And so we sat in a room. We picked everybody's strong points. This is your range. This is your range. This is your range. So this will be the harmonies that we'll do. And we did an a cappella for the very first time we tried it. It was like, 1, 2, 3, Flash. And it sounded really good. And I was like, because Jake's an amazing singer. Jimmy's become a great singer. I do okay. I've got seniority. That's why I'm the lead singer. And we nailed it. Like in the first 3 minutes, it was like it started to come together, and the pressure started to relieve from my shoulders and my face, and I was like, we might be able to pull this off. So then we went into the studio and recorded it, and not to toot my own horn, but I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, I don't think we sound better than Queen, but it's like, I don't think anyone's going to tell us that we blew it.
Right.
And then then Shauna O'Donnell, who you know, who hooked us up with this interview, she got it all the way to Brian May. And so she got this single all the way to Brian May. It took a while, and we're like, yeah, that would be great. And, you know, we didn't expect it. You know, you have these little dreams like, what if Brian, you know, when we were recording, it's like, wouldn't it be cool if Brian May heard it and thought it was cool? And she got all the way to him through his publicist, and he sent us a quote back and was like, he said the same thing like about the Heroes, like, I can't believe you guys did the Hero and put all this together. So it was a dream come true to be able to do that song and then have the guy that wrote it, because he's the one that did the soundtrack. It was Brian May with Queen, but he took care of all of it. He was the mastermind behind the soundtrack. So for someone that did that and gave us the thumbs up and the okay, and was more than the okay, he was like ecstatic about it. That was off the bucket list. When people ask us now, what cover are you going to do next? I was like, I think it's it. I think we did it. I think it's over. Time to try to write songs as cool as that.
Exactly. You also got the song to Sam Jones from who played Flash Gordon.
I mean, it's like, can you believe? Just when we heard all this, we got the phone call. It was like, Sam Jones loves it, and I saw the email, and you know, was told exactly what he said on the phone, and I was like, Flash Gordon, Sam J. Jones, the guy that I looked up to as a kid, as just a quarterback for New York Jets, and became the world, gave us the thumbs up on our song. And then, you know, for Sam Jones has also sent it to Brian May. So they're friends, and he sent it to him, said, you got to check this song out. And Bumblefoot sent it to Brian May. And there were several people that sent it to Brian May, and he finally opened it. And it was just like this thing that kept building and kept building. It's like, this might actually happen. And it did. And whoo, man, it's like still about once every week I can't believe that actually happened. Can't believe my heroes watched this, you know, play this song, and they gave us the thumbs up and said it was okay. So that's a pretty good day. Yeah,
that's excellent. You couldn't ask for more on that. Actually, Flash Gordon was the first movie I ever saw in a theater.
Yeah, did it really?
Yeah. So it was pretty epic seeing it in the theater.
It's such a good movie. It's like, people say it's cheesy. I disagree. I think it is a masterpiece. The costumes are outrageous. Oh man, it's so good. Ming the Merciless. I mean, that's a thespian actor, the only person that can pull it off. And it's just so good, and I'll watch it anytime. I didn't get to see it in the theater, though. I got to see it at home. My mom worked at a cable company when I was a kid, so we got to see all the cool stuff. I recommend Sam Jones's documentary on Amazon too. It's kind of Life After Flash. Yeah, that was good. It was really good. And then when Ted came out, and Ted and Mark Wahlberg's characters are like flipping out, Flash Gordon's here, I was like, oh, there's other people like me. I feel the same way. Absolutely. So you play a lot of shows with Bobo Flex over the years. You guys were together for a long time, probably since the early 2000s. Yes. What would you say was one of your best shows with them? There's a lot of them. I would say the festivals. Rock on the Range. We played Rock on the Range twice here in Ohio, in our home state. It was incredible. I remember almost throwing up. I could hear Sweet Child of Mine, Slash playing Sweet Child of Mine, and on the other stage in the big stadium. And it was echoing to the stadium, and we're all going on stage, getting ready to go on, and Sweet Child of Mine solo is playing. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then the crowd just starts piling in like crazy. And there's so many people there. And it was just a magic moment. There's been several. I mean, it would be hard to put my finger on just one of them. I remember playing, there's so many. I remember playing not Taste of Madison, the other big one. In Madison, Wisconsin, the big festival in Madison, Bandcamp. We were playing Bandcamp, and it's huge. Madison, Wisconsin's a wonderful place. Radio stations are incredible, and the Midwest, just for rock and roll, was amazing. It's like the Europe of the United States. Rock has never died there, and the stations still play whatever they want. They're not corporate. So we were playing on stage. Avatar was going on right after us. Before Avatar was really big. They were getting there, and there was a reason why they're big. They were incredible. But I look over, and Corey Taylor's bent down hiding watching us play the show. And I was like, oh, I got a picture of it. Someone sent a picture of me. He's like, you know who this is? I do. And I looked over and Corey Taylor was right there watching us play the show. And just moments like that make you, like, oh my God, we're doing it. I don't know if he liked it or not, but he was watching. Same thing happened when we were on tour with Gigantor. The Megadeth tour, the very first Megadeth festival. And we would, several nights John Petrucci be watching the show, or Dave Mustaine would be watching the show, or Mike Portnoy would be watching the show, and we got to be friends with the, people that I'd always liked, like Life of Agony and stuff like that. So there's so many awesome moments on tour. I mean, being on tour with Seven Dust was one of my favorite times. And those guys are so cool, and they taught us everything that we know. They're like, look, guys, this is what you need to do live. And they just showed us so many things. And then, then we were able to go on tour with 10 Years, Seven Dust, and Mudvayne. When 10 Years was to have that huge rise with their first single. And being on tour with Mudvayne every night and meeting Chad Gray in the backstage at the after party. And it's like, here's this dude. I mean, when I was younger, I was like, this dude's scary, man. He's the nicest dude in the world. But, when you see him on stage with Mudvayne, he looks like an insane person. And
absolutely.
I remember hearing him warm up before our dressing room would be next to his dressing room, and hear him warm up, and it sounded like a murderer in there. And he's getting his voice ready, and it's just like, oh my God, this is a scary dude. And he come out with all the makeup on, and like a caged animal rush toward the stage, and it's just like incredible experience. One time, Danny Warshop from it was his band, We Are Harlot. You remember that band when he wasn't in Asking Alexandria?
I probably would remember them. Yeah.
He had a brief moment where he wasn't in the band, and we shared a dressing room with him. We were on one side, he was on the other, and I heard him warm up. And that guy, I knew he was a good singer. I had no idea he could sing like that. When I was hearing him warm up, and I just poked my head in, it's like, who the hell is that? And it was Danny, and he was the nicest guy. He's like, come on in, have a shot, let's blah blah blah. While he's singing "When a Man Wants a Woman" to warm up to the stage, and it was blistering. I've seen all kinds of things like that where I was just like, I knew this guy was good. I had no idea he was that good.
Right.
When people say, if you're gonna make it, it's bullshit that this person goes on American Idol and sings and now he's famous. It's like, nah, there's a reason why that guy's been going to vocal lessons since he was 5, or he's the real deal. Some guy that's good in the bar doesn't get up there and make judges' jaws drop. And same thing with metal bands and rock bands and pop bands and any kind of those bands. It's like those guys that are at the top and those gals that are at the top, it's like there's talent beyond your wildest dreams in that person.
Right.
Imagine singing, like Lady Gaga, and dancing and sitting down and playing the piano. And that's like, oh man, that stuff rises to the top for a reason. And I've seen that on tour with my own eyes, where I was just like, oh my God, I have no idea this person can play classically trained piano and sing upside down while it's like,
exactly. So what was your worst gig?
Oh man, got a lot of those too. I could go on forever about that.
Some sort of Spinal Tappy moment somewhere.
One of the worst gigs we ever played, and I'm not blaming anyone. I just think it was we were in Seattle, and it was the big pot festival that they do every year, and everyone's high, and some people can't function high. Some people can. I know people that smoke pot all day, and play the stock market and come out successful. But some people cannot. So we played this pot festival in Seattle. Our bass player is from Tacoma, Jimmy. And he's like, oh, man, the pop festival is huge. We got to do it. We're like, okay, Jimmy. Well, we trust you. We should have not. So we get here. We pull in. They're telling us we can't park. We got a bus and trailer. They're telling us, one guy tells us this is where you need to park, gives us our parking pass. We get there. All these people converge on the bus, start screaming at us. We're going to tow your bus. It's like, this is where you told us to park. So we parked there anyway. Okay, where's the stage? We got to load all this gear. We've got a trailer full of gear. We got, 4 crew members, and the band always helps load in. Not so much load out, but load in, the band always helps. Load out, we're probably not in the best shape. But they tell us that, and the stage is a mile away. And we have to load our equipment a mile away. Maybe not a full mile, but almost a mile away on this little park. It's concrete, so the wheels roll, but we have to roll all of our gear to the stage. Once we finally get to the stage, we realize that the PA system is not loud enough to get over Tommy's snare drum without a mic on it. So it's just a really bad situation. Like, what are we going to do? So we roll all this gear over there. Everybody's sitting in the lawn high. They're probably not going to be into our music, I'm assuming, and they weren't. They were into EDM kind of DJs and things like that. It was just a wrong fit for us. Well, as we get a sound check, everything. Our sound guy, Dave Bigelow, does the best he can with the system that he's got, which, it's not a great system. And as we're getting ready to play the first song, the police come up and tell us they're going to tow our vehicle. So a couple of our crew guys have to run off and fight with the cops. We play the set. Everybody sitting in the crowd doesn't give a damn. They're like, yeah, man, it was pretty cool, man. Don't care. Nobody buys any merch, nothing. They're all just, this kid came up, God bless him, the only kid that liked our band, came up with a magazine from like 8 years ago. I was like, oh my God, you're my favorite band. And him and his buddy, that was, we played for them. So they tried to tow our vehicle. We got that stopped because we had the little sheet of paper and all the emails that said this is where we're supposed to. Our tour manager is very, very on top of things. So then, after being exhausted and all this and going through all this stuff, it's like we're driving our bus down there. We're gonna go get our equipment. We're not loading it a mile back. Just not happening. Festival's over. You know what I mean? So we try to drive our bus down there, and the security team stands out front with all their arms. One of them had a gun. And had all their arms crossed and like, you're not going this way. And we just slowly went through them. I was like, I don't give a shit. The guy pulls his gun out and like putting it up in the air. I was like, we're going to get our equipment in the park. We get, if this guy shoots at us, it's like, we're going to shoot back. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like we're breaking in and doing a diamond heist. We're going to get our equipment that we're not getting paid for, and they didn't pay us, and then they asked us to come back the next day. They're like, can you guys play the next day too? That would be great. And we said, no, absolutely not. We're not playing the next day. And then they just murdered us online. This is the worst band. Yeah, it's the worst band we've ever worked with. And, just all this terrible stuff. So my experiences is I like marijuana. I think it should be legal. I smoke it from time to time when I need to be creative or if I can't go to sleep. But I don't feel like it is something. If there's a festival around marijuana, make sure the people that are taking care of you aren't super high, aren't smoking it all day. Smoke it at the end of the day. That's fine. But if they're going to get high, it was so funny. They just had no idea that, huh? I was like, yeah, Bobaflex, right here on the sheet. We're supposed to play at this time. Huh? Let me ask. And the guy would walk off, let me go find out. And he'd walk off and you just see him walk off and get lost and do something else. And it was the whole festival was like that. And so we weren't high. So we were like, we'll just take care of it ourselves. And then when we tried, the guy pulled a gun on us and the cops got called. And all, it was like, we're just trying to play a show that we do every single day.
Right, exactly.
365 days a year. We got it down. Just let us do it. It was not going to play that festival again.
Did Bobaflex ever get any attention from like Star Wars or Disney or anybody because of the name similarity?
No. That was one of the reasons. Like when we first started the band, it was in we were all at Marshall University, and we started the band, and we're like, "What's the name? What's the name?" My brother's a huge comic book geek, and he was like, "Bobo Flex," and I was like, "That doesn't make any sense. I don't know what that is." He goes, "Well, it's Bobo Fett." I go, "Awesome. Still doesn't make any sense." He's like, "Well, we got to put it on the flyer. We need a name for the flyer." So we put it on the flyer, and I was like, "Why Bobo Flex?" He goes, "So we don't get sued by Star Wars." I was like, "I like that idea." And then it just kind of, the band just kind of, took off. I mean, I wouldn't say, major stardom or anything, but it was like we started drawing crowds in Huntington, West Virginia, and we started moving on out and slowly doing what we needed to do. And the name just stuck. If I had a time machine to go back in time, I'd have said at that meeting over the flyer, I said, "Not that name. I mean, I realize Kiss and Poison and Guns N' Roses have already been taken, all the cool names.
Yeah.
I think we can do better. But it was at a time when Limp Bizkit, Hoobastank, and bands like that were really big. So, you know, cool names like the Shadow City Hitmen were not cool. So, you know, I mean, Cold Chamber was big, and Korn with the K,
right,
stuff like that. So it was a sign of the times. But we caught a lot of hell. People were like, is this a workout machine? Is this, you know? So I think, you know, with a different name, we could have gone a little bit farther. Because, you know, I do that too. You know, if I hear a band that has a name that I can't get past, and then, you know, a few years down the road, I go, who's this? And they go, oh, that's that band, you know, that you didn't like the name. It all counts. It all moves toward the you know, if you got a really stupid name, there's just some people won't get past it.
Well, I will say this. I mean, I used to run my own website back in the early 2000s, and I got your debut CD. And I had to go look up, see how I felt about it. I thought it was really good. And but that's the only time I ever dealt with Bobaflex. And when Shauna told me, hey, I got this band, The Lonely Ones, do you remember Bobaflex? And I'm like, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
So the name kind of was there. I only had one, you know, instance where I was exposed to Bobaflex, and I remembered instantly. I'm like, I know that band. I remember the cover. I remember the name. I remember the music.
Yeah. I mean, it was because of Bobaflex, people, whether they knew us or not, was like, I think I've heard of those guys. So, right. You know, we were in your subconscious always. But, you know, it's like as far as record labels go and things like that, it was something that closed some doors for us, the name.
Yeah.
And then we were stubborn rock dudes. It's like, well, hell with it. We're doing it. You can't tell us what to do. You know, anytime we'd come into contact with the record label, they were like, this name. What's going on with this name? You guys should change the name. And we're like, no way. Because we built a following. We built a pretty large following that we, you know, didn't want to get rid of or didn't want to lose anybody. Because you know how it is. It's like you can change the name and you can put out. There's tons of people that have no idea that we're the Lonely Ones, not a clue. And we've done a decent marketing campaign to kind of cross it over. But I get emails every day. What's going on? The Bobaflex is done. What's the Lonely Ones? And it's just like, you know, there's so much out there, so much information out there. It slips by some people. So
it'll take a little bit, but you'll get there.
Yeah, challenges all around.
But when you guys came out, you were on TVT Records, which was looking like it was going to be a decent label, and then they ended up going under because they were kind of mavericks in the business, I would say.
Yeah.
I assume that them going bankrupt had sort of an effect on your band.
Oh my God. So signed to TVT. The first record was pretty cool. We did a lot of tours and stuff. The second record, they were flipping out about, Tales from Dirt Town. Like, the story goes, when the A&R guy signed us at TVT, he and Steve Gottlieb, which were the president, they signed us. They took it back to the record label, and everybody in the staff like, why did you sign this band? This is the worst band I've ever heard. So the second record, and so that's what we were dealing with first out the gate. They weren't wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, I see where they're coming from. We've grown for sure. They're like, this is the worst band ever. I can't believe you signed this. It's a waste of money, blah, blah, blah. Second record, we go down. We finally get to do a proper record. The first record was a demo. They signed it, had somebody mix it, put it out. Second record, we got to do it properly and go down with Rusty Cobb down to Atlanta, Georgia, spend a month. Jason Casaro showed up. He's a legend in the industry. And we got to really work on a record and have a producer and really tinker over every little thing and the sound. And okay, I like this, a real producer set with us because we'd only done everything on our own before that point. Well, our A&R guy, Lenny Johnson, took it back to the record label, didn't tell anybody who it was. He's like, check this out, this new band. They're all like, we have to sign this band. We have to sign this band. This band's amazing. These songs are amazing. And he told him, like, a gotcha moment was like, it's Bobaflex. And they're like, no way, there's not Bobaflex. He's like, yep. And so we're super excited. They hire this guy. They hired this major radio guy from Universal to come in and work the record. They're saying things like, we're going to bring rock and roll music back because they did Nine Inch Nails and Seven Dust and Nothing Phased.
Yeah.
And what was the band from Canada? Wasting My Time. I Default. They had Default, which was
Default, yeah.
And they'd done all this rock stuff. Well, then they dipped their hand in rap, and they had Little John, Pitbull, Yin Yang Twins. They had this big explosion of rap, and were very successful with that. So they were using us. The president of the record label said, we're going to show the world that we can do rock again, and we're going to do it with Bobaflex. And it was one of those moments where I called my mom. I was like, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this might be, we might have done something here. This might be the moment where it's like, oh, holy shit. And then our song Home was coming out and going to radio. They were doing all the big record label things, and all the emails are flying around, and this is happening. And the song was getting great reviews in the test, the test subjects and test markets that they do. There was the test groups, getting all these great reviews, and they're like, we're getting ready to put the single out, and then like 3 days later, bankruptcy. Bam, filed bankruptcy. So I'm no stranger to bam, get out of my face. Like, you're getting ready to do the layup, and it's looking beautiful, and the whole crowd's cheering, and then the big forward smashes it across the back glass, and it lands off the thing, and you get stuffed in your face. So that happened. It was awful. And when a record label goes bankrupt, nobody knows what's happening. We had to hire an entertainment attorney and a bankruptcy attorney. And they didn't know. Every day it was, you're free, you're not free, you're free, you're not free, you're free, you're not free. And for like almost a year, I think it was almost 2 years. So we toured the country selling T-shirts because we didn't have any music to sell because it was owned by a bank. When they file bankruptcy, the bank owns it. They're not a record label. They don't know what the hell to do with it. They're trying to sell it off, or they're just have it in holding or whatever. So we weren't able to be a band and put out any music for like 2 years. So we drove around the country playing shows and selling T-shirts to pay attorneys. It was a rough time, we don't have rich uncles or rich parents or anything like that. So this is what we had to do. We drove around the country selling T-shirts and playing shows and taking every dime we had and putting it into hiring attorneys who couldn't tell us what the hell was up or down. So we were laying on a floor in Florida. A friend of ours let us stay at his house. We were on tour. We were laying on the floor in Florida. We were a little bit lit, and doom and gloom. We don't know what's going to happen. And it's like 3 a.m, and we're watching this Tom Petty documentary. And Tom Petty says, "Well, if you file bankruptcy, you have to make sure that you're bankrupt," which we were. We were living on T-shirts and McDonald's dollar cheeseburgers, splitting them down the middle. Like, here's $1. There's your half a burger. There's your half a burger.
Yeah.
So we filed bankruptcy, and our attorney that I don't remember how much we spent. But I remember telling our attorney, "Hey, we think we need to file bankruptcy and blah blah blah." And these are we basically through our career figured everything out on our own. And it was like, these are what we can do legally, and contracts are null and void, and blah blah blah. And he goes, "That's a great idea." I was like, "Can I have $75,000 back?" He said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Cool, you're going on the bankruptcy as well." Bam! And then Bury Me With My Guns came back. They're dead, they're gone, it's over with. TVT went bankrupt. I think it was Bobo Flex that bankrupt that label, people even said. And I was like, what? So then dead, they're over, finished. They'll never get another chance. Bury Me With My Guns. We're on our own. We have no record label. We put Bury Me With My Guns out. We put a very small budget behind it. Boom, it explodes. Every radio station that picked it up, it goes to #1. We're back in the game. Then the record label started coming around again. And the scary part about that was TVT, which was the largest independent label in the world, just went bankrupt because of streaming and all these other things that are starting to come to the forefront. And I believe it was Napster and shit at that time, and torrent sites and stuff like that. Lars Ulrich was correct. By the way, he caught a lot of hell, but he was right. He's always right. If he says something, write it down. But these labels started coming the major labels started coming around once Guns had the success. But we were nothing against the major labels. We were so freaked out of what we just went through. We thought, shit, this could happen to anybody. We thought this is going to happen to everybody. If TVT goes down and the streaming thing is not stopping, it's only going to get crazier and crazier. and freer and freer.
Right.
So we held it kind of close to our chest. It's like, well, we won't drop ourselves. We won't go bankrupt. Let's just work on it ourselves. So we decided to stay independent. Part of me feels like that was the right move. The other part of me feels like, who knows what could have happened if we were signed with one of the majors. I could be wearing a fur coat right now and eating caviar during our interview. But I don't know. We decided to stay independent because it was a scary time, and it was a very uncertain time of what was going to happen. And at that time, too, the 360 deal started coming around. And to me, looking at 360 deals and things like that, I understand why they're put into place. A record label is taking a major risk on, a couple $100,000 that they're going to put into your band. Or, if you're the greatest, a couple $1 million they're going to put into your band, and it's hard to get it back. But it's hard for me to see a way, if I was 17, 19 and thought we're going to be the biggest band in the world like Metallica, it would make sense. But, being through the industry and seeing some of the things that I've seen, it's like the 360 deals is like, I just don't know how you can survive as a band doing those. You can be famous, but you're going to have holes in your boots.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a very strange industry. It's like part of me wants to see if we can get to the level of major label kind of wanting us. And the other part of me is like, man, it's a very big give and take both ways.
I think the industry is going to move back to territorial stuff. Especially with the pandemic and everything, I think it's going to be, you're going to have your little local touring area and that's it until, as the years go by and everything gets a little safer, then you'll be able to spread out again.
Yeah. The vaccine's out. We'll see what happens with that. Vaccine's out. The administration has changed. So hopefully the chaos will slow down a bit. I don't know though. Nobody knows what the future is going to hold, but it feels like as far as our booking agent and the people that we're our team around us, it's looking like August. It's going to be August next year will be the time that we'll be able to start touring, because we had dates in October thinking, well, that's plenty of time. Everybody's going to lock down. The virus is going to go away. That did not happen. Then we had dates, October. Then we had dates in March. This has got to be plenty enough time in March. That didn't happen. It keeps moving back. So he's like, all right, finally August, which is 9 months from now.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, it's like for 9 months, I'm probably going to be working at Amazon for a little while, recording music in the evenings, recording music in the evenings. And I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, the good thing is our fans from Bobo Flex have been very good to us with the new band. And we've gained a lot of new fans with the new band. And it just, this is our thing. This is what we're doing now. People said, will the band survive the pandemic? It's like, absolutely. We have no other skills. I am not a mathematician. I'm not, I've been on a roof before. Don't want to do that anymore. I've laid block, I didn't lay block. I've tended block and made some soupy mix. And then it's just like, I'm a musician. That's what we do. That's what everybody in the band does. So, if it's getting to the point where, we're probably going to have to do something on the side to be able to survive these 9 months. But we'll come out swinging. When the 9 months is up, we're going to be fried, dyed, and laid to the side and ready to put it on the stage.
Absolutely. And the new singles are great. I hope people check them out and get the Lonely Ones out there and kind of realize that it's a continuation of Bobo Flex. I think that'd be great.
It's so with Bobo Flex too, we're still going to do, we were in the studio last week. We're still going to put out some songs and stuff.
That's awesome.
Maybe do some shows like, 5 shows a year or something like that. Something fun. It was too much fun and our fan base was too cool. So, we're still going to do that and put out a couple songs a year, something like I said, we went to the studio last week and it was so much fun and easy and just not going to not do that. My brother still wants to still create music and still wants to do some shows here and there. But, the Lonely Ones is the priority. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to release like a single at least a month, at the latest every month from here until August. So
sounds great.
Be slamming songs out and letting people know what we sound like.
Awesome. Well, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you speaking with Metal Express Radio.
Thanks for having me, man. It was an absolute pleasure.